Hey guys, Chef Pyet here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a nice, delicious, and simple shrimp fajita tacos and cilantro lime rice. We're going to be using 3 ingredients that are already pre-prepped and pre-cooked from MacroPlate's A-La-Carte menu. The first ingredient is going to be their basmati rice. The second is going to be their fajitas, which are peppers and sauteed onions. And then last but not least, the wild-caught shrimp. So the first step to cooking our shrimp fajita tacos, we need to mince garlic and chop 2 tablespoons of cilantro. So I have 2 garlic here. We have 1 really large one, so I'm going to just use that one. I'm going to use my knife and just break it down and go ahead and start mincing. All right, now that my garlic is nice and minced, I'm going to go ahead and just set it to the side for now, and then I will mince my cilantro. Love fresh cilantro. So I want to mince about 4 tablespoons and then separate the 2. So 2 tablespoons into our fajita mix and 2 tablespoons into our cilantro lime rice. Now that my cilantro is nice and minced, I'm going to go ahead and set it to the side for later. We're going to go ahead and start prepping our basmati cilantro lime rice. We have pre-prepped basmati rice, so this is going to make this recipe super easy. I love that they've already done the work for me. So I'm going to go ahead and put just a tiny little bit of oil in my pan. We don't need too much oil, just enough to kind of lightly coat the bottom of the pan. So you only need about 3/4 cup of rice for this recipe. So this is a single serving. So it's up to you whether you want to have half a cup of rice or 3/4 cup. I'm going to go for 3/4 cup because I like to eat a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-measure out my rice. All right, we have 3/4 cup, and then now my pan is on a low to medium heat, and I'm going to go ahead and just use a little wooden spoon and fully separate all of the rice in my pan just so it evenly heats. Once that's heated, I can go ahead and add some fresh lime juice and the 2 tablespoons of cilantro. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this lime on my cutting board just to release some of the natural juices, and it'll help make it easier to squeeze later. And I'll go ahead and just cut this in half. And I'm only going to use half of my lime, so just a little squeeze there. And then just a little pinch of your fresh minced cilantro. We're going to mix this around and let it kind of saute. So we just cut 15 to 20 minutes of cooking rice down in like 15 seconds. It's amazing. Now that our rice is over to the side cooling, we're going to go ahead and get started on our shrimp fajita mix. We're going to take some olive oil and coat the bottom of a medium saute pan. And then we'll add our minced garlic. And we'll cook this for about 30 to 45 seconds just until the garlic turns a little translucent and nice and fragrant. We don't want our garlic to burn, so just keep an eye on it. Now that you see it starting to brown, we're going to go ahead and add our other ingredients. We have our fajita mix here. And we'll add just a little bit here to our pan. And then we'll add our pre-cooked shrimp. And I'm just going to add enough to make 2 tacos. And then we'll add our taco seasoning or spices here. Some fresh cilantro and a little S&P salt and pepper just to let those ingredients and those spices pop a little more. Because these ingredients are already cooked, all we need to do is just kind of saute them for a few minutes until they're nice and warm for serving temperature. You don't want to overcook our ingredients at this part, so be very careful. You'll probably only need to saute it for about 2 minutes, maybe less. I love that this shrimp is already cooked and the peppers are already cooked. All I have to do is just add some spices just to add a little bit of flair and flavor to it, and then it's done. Super, super simple. We all have busy schedules. We don't have that much time. And there we go. Probably less than 2 minutes, our shrimp is already done. So I'm going to take 2 tortillas that I've already warmed up. For anyone that does not know how to warm tortillas up, it's super, super simple. All you need to do is grab a saute pan, add a tiny little bit of oil, and heat both sides of your tortillas 1 to 2 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of my shrimp fajita mix into the tortilla. I like really big tacos, so I'm just gonna fill it up until I can't put any more on there. This smells so delicious. All of those spices just really add a good fragrant component to these tacos. And then I'm going to add my favorite taco toppings, which is fresh avocado and some salsa verde. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut my avocado. Be careful not to cut yourself. So now I have like literally the perfect avocado. Come on, doesn't get better than that. And I'm just gonna cut some little thin slices here. And then we're just gonna scoop out some of this avocado and then put it on our tacos. Lastly, we are going to add the salsa verde on top here. Whatever salsa you like, go for it, use it. Boom, there you have it. Super simple and delicious shrimp fajita tacos. Thanks to MacroPlate, they already season all of their food. The shrimp has already been pre-seasoned, and all I had to do is just add my own personal flavor and touch in my spices, and we made a delicious dish here. Super great, super good, not overcooked. That lime, the acidity with the basmati rice and the fresh cilantro, it like really does it for me. This is probably like one of my favorite rices, like cilantro lime rice. Super simple to make. Wow, this looks amazing. Damn, that's good. The flavors of those spices with the fresh cilantro and the avocado and that salsa is so freaking good. And it's super juicy, so it's like not dry. No one likes a dry taco.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex Lacasse, and I'm here today with MacroPlate to show you how to make a quick and delicious steak taco. So I'm gonna do about 4 tacos today, so I'm gonna take half of this portion, so about 8 ounces of sirloin. And I'm not gonna fuss around too much. It's already been trimmed and it's a beautiful product. It's already seasoned and cooked as it should, but I'm only gonna enhance their flavor by adding some spices and cooking it a bit further, getting a nice caramelization in there. Carne asada normally has a nice smoky element, right? Whether you get that from the pan, the grill. For me here, I'm gonna cheat today. I'm gonna get that from some spices. So I do have some smoked paprika, I have some cayenne, some Mexican oregano, and some whole cumin seeds. The cumin seeds are also gonna add a ton of texture to this. So this is all going in. We're gonna add some fresh citrus. I'm gonna do about half of a lime. And I'm gonna do half of an orange. Traditionally, carne asada would have some sour orange, which I couldn't find. So a little bit of orange juice. All right, to this, I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of neutral oil. So this is all just getting mixed together. All right, so we got our cast iron pan here nice and hot, and that's gonna be ready to go. We won't add any oil to it as we have already added the oil in here. Steak is going in. You should be hearing a nice searing. And now, so your reflex here would probably to just go ahead and flip it and toss it around. But because we're trying to develop as much flavor as possible, we won't touch it. We'll let it get nice and golden brown on this one side. All right, it's been about 3 minutes and you can see the nice amount of char we got on here. And we're ready to remove it from the heat. So next is a really important part. We're leaving that pan on the heat because as you can see, it's got all those nice char bits. It also still has some cumin seeds and a bunch of spice in it. So we're gonna build our salsa in there. So to this, we're gonna add about a pint of tomatoes. I'm gonna add 1 serrano. I'm just gonna cut the very tip, but I'm leaving the seeds in. Cut face down. I'm gonna do 1 clove of garlic, and I'm gonna do about half of an onion. This onion, we'll cut it in quarters, just like this. We're gonna add a little bit of salt, and it's gonna go in the broiler. All right, while the salsa is in the oven, I'm just gonna reheat some tortillas. No frills here, huh? Tortillas in a pan. All right, tortillas are finished. I'm just gonna put them under a warm towel. Our salsa's been under the broiler for about 5 minutes. We got a nice amount of color and everything. We're ready now. We're just gonna go ahead and coarsely grind it. Perfect, there you go. Bam, look at this. All right, first off, the meat, la pièce de résistance. onto our salsa. Nice and warm. Make it rain, generous. A little bit of greenery. What would it be without some cilantro? Carne asada with salsa roja. Bon appetit. Yep. This is amazing. Nice amount of smokiness. We got some char bits. The steak is still juicy, and we got a nice amount of freshness from the tomatoes.
Hi guys, I'm Amber, and today I'm going to be making a vegan breakfast taco using MacroPlate's A-La-Carte ingredients. First, we're going to start by making some quick pickled onions using a red onion and some lime juice. I'm just going to take half an onion, and I'm going to cut off the root and peel it. And all we're going to do here is just follow the lines. The thinner the slices are, the quicker it pickles. Right when it gets to a point where it feels a little scary, you can just flip the onion and just continue following the lines. Now we're just going to move these to a bowl. We're just going to cover the onions completely with the lime juice. The citrus juice itself pickles them completely. 5 hours later. Just make sure that the onions are fully submerged in the lime juice. So I'm going to make a chorizo-spiced grilled tofu and fingerling potato taco. What's great about MacroPlate's tofu is that they've already pressed it up all its juices, and so it's completely dry and grilled and seasoned, and so I'm able to just pull it apart into perfect bite-sized pieces. Now that I've crumbled the tofu, I'm just going to set it aside in a bowl. So now we're just going to give the fingerling potatoes a rough chop and just slice them down the middle, and then now we're going to make our chorizo spice for the tofu and potato mixture. I have a mortar and pestle that I'm going to use to break down both the dried oregano and the dried thyme. So I have half a teaspoon of dried oregano, half a teaspoon of dried thyme, and about half a teaspoon of peppercorns. They're like semi-crushed. And I'm going to use the mortar and pestle and just break down these just a little bit more. If you don't have a mortar and pestle, you can also use a spice grinder or a coffee bean grinder to grind it down into a powder. So once it's to about a powdery texture, we are going to add the rest of our spices. We have ancho chili powder, paprika, smoked paprika, cumin, garlic powder, onion powder, coriander, pinch of cinnamon, then we're going to have salt and pepper, and our dried thyme and oregano. Now I'm going to add a generous pinch of salt, probably about half a teaspoon or so. Now we're going to take about a tablespoon or so of our chorizo spices and add it to a bowl. I'm going to do one more spoonful. And then add about a tablespoon of cornstarch. The cornstarch is going to help get both the potatoes and the tofu super crispy. And now we're going to add our spices to our potatoes and tofu. And we're going to add about a tablespoon of oil, just around the bowl to help coat it. We have our oven preheated to 400, and we're just going to move our tofu mixture onto a nonstick pan. The tofu and potatoes are going to roast for about 15 to 20 minutes, and we're going to make a lime cabbage slaw. I'm going to take a little bit of the cabbage, just a smidge. It's a big boy. We're just going to slice it pretty thin. We're going to make the vegan lime crema, which is just using some veganese, some lime juice, and a pinch of salt. Now we're going to just drizzle the lime crema over the cabbage. Now we're just going to mix it up until the cabbage is coated. And this is just going to sit and do its thing until we're ready to build the taco. And for the last step, we're just going to heat up the peppers and onions. That's the sound you want to hear. We're just going to move our peppers into a bowl until we're ready to plate. The chorizo potato mixture is ready. Everything's ready to go. We have warm tortillas. We're just going to start to plate. We're just going to do a little bit of the peppers and onions and top it with a little bit of our slaw. Our pickled onions. A little bit of cilantro. And lastly, some little chive blossoms. And here we have it, our chorizo-spiced potato and tofu taco with lime slaw and pickled red onions. So good. The smoky, crispy potato and tofu with the cool slaw and the tangy pickled red onion, it's perfect.